on a foundational level, man, black people in this country, bro, like, we so splintered off. You get what I'm saying? Everybody kind of got their own way of life, their own ideals, you know what I'm saying? Their own subculture within the culture, different shit they pledge allegiance to within the culture. So Christian, Muslim, all this different, I can go down the list of all the different shit niggas is into. That kind of, that has your allegiance to it, what you align with, that kind of has you splintered off. You feel me? That has you not able to come under one agenda or one accord as community. So I feel like that's the first thing, is getting falling in line as a people under one ideal. You feel me? One agenda. You feel me? People say shit like, well, black people not a monolith. Okay, cool, we're not a monolith, but in order to make some real headway, some real progress as a nation, we talking nation building. In order to do that, you have to have a principle, concept that's in mind, that everybody falls in line with, that everybody strives, that everybody's fighting for. You feel me? Everybody's fighting on the basis of protecting, you feel me, the same ideology. So in order to have a community, otherwise you ain't got no community. So first and foremost, I think people need to have knowledge of self. I think people need to get a true idea or a true understanding of knowledge of self, a true understanding that they place on this earth, they place in this country. You feel me? That's your foundation. And if you don't have a proper foundation, anything you try to build on top of that is going to come crumbling. So, well, just to say this too, I've had people say things like, oh, we need more community leaders. We need more leaders. We need more leaders. That's some shit I don't really believe in, because more leaders, that's like, if you're talking about back in the days, civil rights, you got your Stokely Carmichaels, your Malcolm X's, different people like that, et cetera, Martin Luther Kings. But we've seen with those movements, once you take out the leader, once you take out the head, the body gonna fall. So, and when the body fall, y'all really not gonna get out and do nothing to avenge this person falling. So why would you put somebody in that position? Why would you put so much pressure on one individual, 2, 3, 4 individuals, to push this thing forward? Because when they gone and when they take them out, y'all ain't gonna do shit for real. So, and then that's a lot of stress and a lot of pressure on them people anyway to not live up, but to, maintain and try to keep this shit going. And them knowing, they knowing like, hey man, I have the potential to get taken out the game. And then what? Game over. Y'all ain't gonna pick up the scraps. Like I said, you cut off the head, the body gonna fall. So I don't think we need people, particular people that's appointed as community leaders. I think we need ideology. I think we need to fall in line under principle. So, and my concept of that is, okay, first you get knowledge of self as a people. Know who you truly is in this country. Know where you truly came from. Have a proper understanding of that. And I'm not saying, people say, oh, I'm a Christian. You don't have the proper understanding of this thing. Because then you're attributing, for example, if you're a Christian, you're attributing this shit to some man in the sky. And that's not even the real true meaning of none of that knowledge. You have to get true knowledge of these principles. These religious principles, spiritual principles, whatever principles, you gotta really understand this shit. And all those principles, all those divine principles is talking about within the self. The battle between higher, which is consciousness, and lower, your ego, your flesh. You feel me? God is up here. The man upstairs is up here. It's within. Once you understand that and you can operate off that, you feel me? We talking about the awareness of being. That's what God is. That's another name. You feel me? That's pretty much what it is. You feel me? God is the politicized term for your awareness of being, your consciousness. So once you understand that, you feel me? You can move forward. You operate on the proper balance of knowledge of yourself, whether you want to call it Yahweh, Allah, whatever. It's all talking about the same thing, your awareness of being. So you got to understand that first. That's having a true knowledge of yourself. I'll expound on that later, in later videos, but That's what I mean when I say knowledge of yourself. Knowledge of that, knowledge of your spirituality the proper way. Don't pass the buck off to some imaginary man in the sky that you waiting on to bust through the sky to do something for you as a people or do something for you as a person, because it's never gonna happen. You feel what I'm saying? I heard a brother break it down on some, like, you feel me? Your awareness of being, your consciousness is the impersonal I am. So once you understand that, you feel what I'm saying? It's the impersonal, meaning everybody possesses the ability to understand the I am. Like, everybody is the I am. So once you understand that, whether you want to call it Yahweh, Allah, like I said, once you get that, then you can move forward properly and stop waiting on somebody to come through the sky to save us as a people. It's never gonna happen. So if we can fall in line with that, everybody get true understanding of these holy principles, divine principles. Everybody get a true understanding, whether you still want to be Muslim, whether you still want to be Christian, whether you still want to be Baptist, okay, cool, but get a proper understanding of what this shit is talking about. We all finally come to, once we all realize we got a proper understanding, okay, cool. There should be no more you trying to get over on the next nigga. You trying to manipulate the next nigga. You trying to, cause all that shit is flesh. All that shit is ego. All that shit is your lower state, your beast-like state. So if we all understand understand these concepts properly, we all should be operating in our higher states with each other. You feel me? The only time we activate that other state is when we gotta go to war, when we gotta fuck around and defend our community, when we gotta defend what we building. Then we go into them lower states. But if you don't have a proper understanding of the higher and the lower, you might slip into the lower when you dealing with your brother when you supposed to be in the higher. We gotta operate with each other in the higher automatically. And that first comes with having a true knowledge of yourself, true knowledge of these concepts. I'm gonna talk about that shit in another video. Second, once we get that, then we organize. We all had a realization, okay, cool, we all got this understanding now. We all understand this shit properly. Now we should be able to organize. And when we organize, we should all be able to deal with each other, operating out our higher states. That's going to allow us to organize. That's going to allow us to weed out the bad seeds. If anybody try to come with any confusion or bring any type of bullshit into the mix, now we from our operating again from our higher state, we organize now. We can nip that in the bud. That's not allowed within the that's not allowed while we organizing. While we in the state of organizing, that's not allowed. And if you bring that to the table, you gotta get dealt with. That's a checks and balance system. You feel me? So I'm not saying you gotta harm nobody. I'm just saying, okay, if they gotta get put out the organization, they gotta get removed from this thing we doing. Because everybody can't go either. So you're gonna have your bad apples that just want to operate in a lower state. But once you sniff them out, you operate in your lower state, you can no longer be here. That's the consequences, and we gonna keep progressing and keep moving forward without you. You can operate in your lower state from your ego, from your flesh, and deal with all this worldly shit, deal with all that shit on your own, or whoever else want to accept you. But we ain't doing it. That's not allowed within the confines of what we trying to do as a community, as a culture. So you organize. Once you organize, because we all operating at the higher state, so we all should be able to organize without it being any type of, we're going to have disagreements. But since we operating out this higher state, we should be able to settle these disagreements without going into the lower state, without it being some type of violence, without it being some type of, you get what I'm saying? All right, cool. So now we organize. After we organize, it don't got to be under no one umbrella. This is all ideology. This is all coming from the mental. Spiritual, you feel me? We not in no group, we not in no frat, we not in no building, we not in no, you feel me, where they could come and infiltrate. We not in none of that. This is all from the mind. Once you organize, then you weaponize. Because you got to protect your organization. You got to protect what you're trying to build. You got to protect your culture. So you just weaponize. You feel me? You got to weaponize. Because once you organize and once you got true knowledge of self and they see the power, motherfuckers going to come try to tear that down. They're going to come try to infiltrate. They're going to come try to do a lot of bullshit. So, and I mean weaponize physically, be physically fit, weaponize mentally, be mentally fit. Always constantly learning, always constantly reading, learning the arts. You feel me? The different tricks and trades, the different little pitfalls, and where you think you always learning, man. How to protect your community, how to protect your culture. That's all coming with weaponization. And then fourth would be practicing group economics. After we got all that down pat, then you practice group economics. You got all the lawyers together. You got all the doctors together. You got all the people in the music game, all the artists together, all the movie people together, all the, you feel me, clothing store people together. Everybody can sit together, sharing ideals, sharing knowledge, sharing money, spending with each other, creating opportunities for each other, building with each other. You practice group economics. That's the last and final step. That's how you build you feel me? You build it financially. You build your culture and your community financially. So them is my 4 steps. And if you want to know more about, group economics, then you read Dr. Claud Anderson's book, Powernomics. But all this knowledge is out here, man. I'm gonna do another video expounding on this shit. That's just a short, sweet version. But yeah, man, I'm signing off.